There's an adjustment period for every rookie coming into this league. It's going to be playing tendencies, trying to send her into analytically where her weaker areas on the floor are, make things different.
You won't believe how fast one rumor turned into a firestorm. One name, one decision that never officially happened, and suddenly Caitlin Clark was at the center of an Olympic controversy shaking women's basketball.
Angela, start first question.
The phrase "blocked from the Olympics" spread like wildfire, and that alone tells you how fragile the moment is right now. Caitlin Clark did not wake up one morning and get formally rejected by Team USA, and Stephanie White does not possess the authority to block anyone from Olympic selection. But that did not stop fans, insiders, and media corners from connecting dots that were never meant to be connected, and that is where this story gets dangerous, dramatic, and revealing about the power struggle shaping the future of the sport.
That pass. She had been dealing most recently with the groin injury.
Let's ground this first, because facts matter even when the drama is loud. Olympic rosters are selected by USA Basketball through committees, long-term evaluations, and layered decision-making that involves coaches, executives, and player development leaders. Not a single WNBA coach acting alone. Stephanie White, despite her experience and influence, does not control Olympic access. But guess what? Perception does not care about job titles, and in moments like this, perception becomes the headline. The spark came when Clark's absence from early Olympic conversations collided with Stephanie White's growing visibility within elite basketball circles. White has been increasingly vocal about experience, defensive discipline, and veteran chemistry, themes that many fans immediately read as indirect critiques of Clark's high-usage, offense-first style. No one said her name out loud, but the timing was enough. That silence was all it took. Social media did the rest. Within hours, posts claimed Clark had been quietly iced out, that certain coaches were protecting the old guard, and that a generational star was being punished for changing the economy of the league too fast. None of this was confirmed, yet the outrage felt real because it tapped into something deeper that has been simmering since Clark entered the WNBA. The league is growing faster than its power structures can adapt, and every major decision now feels political. But hold on for what's coming next, because this was never just about the Olympics. Caitlin Clark represents a shift that makes people uncomfortable. Ticket prices surge when she plays, ratings spike when she touches the ball. Arenas fill with fans who did not grow up watching the WNBA but now feel personally invested in its future. That kind of gravity does not arrive quietly, and it definitely does not arrive without resistance. Behind closed doors, there has long been tension about how quickly Clark ascended. Some veterans privately questioned the media attention, some executives worried about overexposure, others feared that marketing was outpacing on-court development. These concerns were not new, but the Olympic conversation brought them to the surface in the most explosive way possible. Stephanie White, intentionally or not, became the symbol of that tension. White's coaching philosophy has always leaned towards structure, toughness, and earned hierarchy. She values players who have been through international systems, who understand FIBA spacing, physicality, and the grind of short tournaments. From that lens, Clark's youth, recent injuries, and offensive freedom could reasonably be viewed as factors requiring patience. That is basketball logic. The problem is that logic collided with a fan base that sees Clark as the future, not a project. And that collision created a narrative that got out of control. But guess what? Caitlin Clark did not stay silent. You want to know what happened next? Don't forget to smash that subscribe then. While she never publicly attacked Stephanie White, Clark's body language, interview tone, and carefully chosen words spoke volumes. She emphasized focus. She talked about controlling what she could control. She referenced long-term goals instead of immediate honors. To seasoned observers, this read less like disappointment and more like a recalibration. To fans, it felt like restrained fury. This is where the explosion really happened. Not in a press conference, but in momentum. Clark doubled down on training. Her camp quietly adjusted schedules. Brand partners leaned in instead of pulling back. Nike did not flinch. Media appearances increased. And suddenly, the Olympic snub narrative began to look less like a setback and more like fuel. History tells us this pattern well. Stars who are questioned early often return sharper, angrier, and more deliberate. Michael Jordan was cut. Kobe Bryant was benched. The difference here is that Clark's battle is unfolding in public, in a league still figuring out how to handle superstardom at this scale. And that is the terrifying lesson the WNBA keeps learning. Every time Clark is perceived as being held back, interest multiplies. Every time she is doubted, engagement spikes. The attempt to slow the moment only accelerates it. That is not conspiracy, that is economics. Old T matters here too. Long before this Olympic chatter, Clark's college dominance was already dividing opinion. Some praised her range and vision. Others warned about defensive limitations and physical wear. Those critiques followed her into the pros, resurfacing every time she missed a game or had an off-shooting night. What changed is that now those critiques are no longer just basketball analysis. They are power statements. Who gets protected? Who gets patience? Who gets spotlight? And that is why the Stephanie White angle stuck, even without proof. White symbolizes institutional basketball wisdom. Clark symbolizes disruptive change. When those two ideas exist in the same sentence, the internet fills in the blanks aggressively. It becomes less about truth and more about alignment. Is the system ready to hand the keys to someone this new? Or does it insist on tradition, even when tradition is being outpaced by demand? That is the real debate hiding under the Olympic headline. Meanwhile, Team USA has remained strategically quiet, which only fuels speculation. Silence creates space for narratives, and narratives thrive when fans feel emotionally invested. Clark's fans are not casual observers. They are emotionally tied to her journey, and any perceived injustice feels personal. But here's the uncomfortable truth many are ignoring. Clark does not need the Olympics right now to validate her trajectory. Her commercial power is intact. Her influence is growing. Her platform is expanding beyond basketball into culture. If anything, an Olympic delay extends her arc rather than cutting it short. It gives her something to chase instead of something to defend. And that might be the most dangerous version of Caitlin Clark yet. Stephanie White, for her part, has not engaged with the narrative, and that may be intentional. Engaging would legitimize a storyline that does not officially exist. But absence does not equal innocence in the court of public opinion. And once a figure becomes symbolic, control over interpretation is lost. This entire episode exposes a league at a crossroads. The WNBA is negotiating identity, growth, labor tension, and global visibility all at once. The Olympics are not just a tournament anymore. They are a statement about who represents the sport on the world stage. Every omission is scrutinized. Every inclusion is politicized. Clark landed in that pressure cooker earlier than anyone expected. So no, Stephanie White did not physically block Caitlin Clark from the Olympics. But the fact that millions believe she could tell you everything you need to know about how fragile trust is right now between fans, institutions, and power brokers in women's basketball. And here's the twist no one wants to admit. If Clark eventually makes Team USA and dominates, this moment becomes a footnote. If she does not, it becomes mythology. Either way, it adds to her story. Either way, it sharpens her edge. The league thought it was managing expectations. Instead, it may have lit the fuse. Because when a generational star feels underestimated, history suggests the response is never quiet. So the real question is this: did the Olympic noise just delay Caitlin Clark, or did it accidentally create the most dangerous version of her yet? Either way, don't blink, because the next chapter is coming fast.